Maybe people can hear me this way. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. What's up, people? Good evening. Welcome to another episode of the weekly show. Dave here. Sil, represented Sil. We got others coming, but they're slacking. But it's good to see OAE launched with us there. How you doing, Matt? You good? Hanging in there? Good to see you on a semi-regular basis this time. Popping up. First on arrival. Well, usually I think people get warned that this show is coming up, so they like warned or whatever. You have your alerts, so like whatever y'all set to know that we're coming on the show, you might hear, and then some of y'all got to be ready and available for it, and not at work. We're looking at Robert there mostly when we're talking about that, but Dalton, I don't think D actually is at work anymore on shift when this show is on, but I could be wrong. Not entirely sure. Gonna have to change a couple things, so we'll see how it's going. Got a little different background going on because I got it for Christmas. A little bit more airplane themed. I kind of like it. It's just soft mouse material. I could put the mouse on it, but then again, I can put the mouse anywhere because it's a trackball, so I don't care about that. Kind of like it. I mean, if we don't do any cutting, it won't really be affected by that, in which case I'll bring the mat back, but right, Matt? I like that much better. Oh, I do a little bit of a test here with y'all because I got to do a little bit of a test. I wanted to see like how I sound compared to sound. Yeah, because I don't have the sound mix on the mic with a headphone. I mean, I think I sound okay. I've listened to past ones and everything, but I don't have the same sound suppression that I have on. What the hell? I need the actual headphone. Oh, okay, there it is. Yeah, I guess that's it. Oh, okay, wait, so it is. Oh, it's set up the same way. Well, I don't have to worry about everything then. It already is. Okay, because it's using the settings from the other one, which is really strange because I thought it wasn't. But see, I haven't played with it, so I don't know. I didn't know like whether or not it sounded as good because obviously it's a different mic. The camera needs a little bit of help, but I mean it's gonna be kind of good because it's in your face and in my face, but doesn't change anything. So what the hell? Oh, okay, we got it. Anyway, so what y'all been doing this week? Y'all been up to stuff? Anybody up to stuff? Like doing I should say that because like the week has gone by a little bit slow and I had ideas which I haven't put to paper yet, but I do have ideas. So basically you can call it in the design stage. It's not researched. I got ideas as to far how far they should go, but I haven't put it to paper yet, so to speak. It's not like well, let me see here. It's one of the design aircraft that I had. Those are the javelins we built last couple weeks, or the various interceptor aircraft we built the last couple weeks. So just revisiting. But I was looking here at one of my birds, one of the designs, and trying to see how it was playing out, and got something on it, and I don't know. I was impressed by this little thing. Kind of liked it. It's not all that little, but it's not. I can't remember if I showcased it to you guys or to Mark exclusively at NASA's or both. But again, I was like surprised this little thing had some doage. And oh yeah, I did. I remember because I showcased the saber tooth like styles. The whatever you want to call these are wait strakelets, winglets, canards, whatnot. They're not truly any of the above, but I enjoyed the aircraft. I think it was pretty cool. Like designing it, like the fact that it only takes one sheet of paper and it looks like it takes a couple. And boy, that's bright. It's better over here. I'll leave it over here. But like, man, I put a lot of tech on it though, which is one of my concerns with the aircraft because like if you put so much tech, again, like you have a tendency to do with certain aircraft, when you put that much tech on it, you don't know what's right, what's wrong, and where to start. So I know this is all inherent to the design, but I really didn't intend to like start out with so much. So I kind of don't enjoy the center hole there, uh, the rudder coming down this angle because it has an upright fin, but the upright fin is split. It's got taping. It has Delta Diamonds, but they're subtle. And I honestly can't remember if I cut those in or they were formed. I think they were formed. Um, Enjoy it. It's it's not. It could be better. It's not like super complex, even though it is. And I don't know whether I'm looking for something simple or complex. I kind of when I'm building, I'm always looking for both. I'm always looking to try to find the ways to make the ones that we talked about before the cats. Sorry, I don't mean to keep doing that, but you notice the hair more on this thing for some reason. Cats and dogs, hairiest ass dog in the world. Ah, um, but like when I design it, I don't know about you guys, but when I design it, I'm thinking ahead in terms of like how simple is it going to be to duplicate, how many I can make like this. Is it going to be easy to remember? It's going to be easy to build out in the field. I mean, realistically speaking, I'd rather just have planes that you can build out in the field. But then again, I love creating all the folds and like the stuff that makes it a little bit more looky and stuff. So it has the look of something more technologically advanced. And that's ultimately what boiled me down into this one, just because like yeah, I kind of like all the stuff that this one has compared to all the stuff that we've been putting out lately. I mean, like I always found, and I bring this one back up too because it illustrates. I always like how much more vampires have. Like they're pretty basic, but they involve so much extra that it becomes more exotic looking. Like it really is a simple design, just made more complex by the stuff that could be on it, and you could go anywhere with that aircraft. So like there's so much more it could do to it. So much more already done to it. So it's like wow. Um but I like that one. Building it wasn't like all it wasn't stress. It was like, let's see what you can do with this. Like see what you can do with that. It took a couple days to wrangle that. Its development was a little bit longer than well, no, you know what? The development of Vampire was pretty much average. Oh, and it's asymmetrical. Didn't even notice that before. Huh. It's very subtle. You wouldn't you wouldn't know if you went well, okay, it's because you can play with the it's because you can play with you see what I'm doing there? The forewings I'm kinda like altering, so like its frontal is different, so I guess maybe it's on the eye of the how you do that. I see now. Okay, so it could be they could be straight. It could just depend on how you fold the wings. Gotcha. Luckily with Vampire, something like that is like we always like to talk. That's a tech is making sure your aircraft is symmetrical perfectly. But certain aircraft don't need it as much. Something like this one definitely would, but something like Vampire, Stunter, like something that loops and flies wouldn't need it so much. So we're not really gonna make a tech talk about the symmetric, like making sure everything is like not asymmetrical. Um, Basically you should know that. Just like because I mean, idealistically you could make it asymmetrical all you want, but you better be ready for it to corkscrew or just bank and constantly do something. It'll probably piss you off. So and you run that risk too, of course, when you build, especially rudders. Rudders, I've told you, rudders could be the bane of your existence if you have too many vertical surfaces on a horizontal aircraft like that. I mean, a flying wing eliminates that problem. You won't have yaw, but you might have roll, and this is the problem that I suffered with like Nova for so long because doesn't work. Crap. Um, I suffered with it for so long with Nova because Nova's got the winglets and everything. So like I it's easier to get disappointed with it, and like having five rudders or five things acting as rudders and having to keep them symmetrical down the center line to make sure the aircraft was flying right is more of a headache than you'd imagine. So like like looking at it and thinking, damn, I got a good bird here, and then like turning out after building it, you're like, oh, that's a hunk of crap. Um, yeah, it's expensive hunk of crap considering how much time and effort it takes to get the thing straight. You gotta think of those things. You gotta you find out your line. Where's your line in the sand? What warrants a stop? What warrants a good flight and the frustration over building it versus getting it to fly right. And as crafters, aircrafters that we are, it's not. Man, you gotta concentrate. Like you wanted to fly right, but what does it take? Where's the balance of how much folding and tweaking do I got to do to get it to fly the way it should have flown, as opposed to something straight out the gate flies right? Um, or how much are you willing to play with it? You know, these are things like when we're dealing with these planes, like how much you get into the aircraft is like how much you're thinking about what that plane will do or what it's going to do for you. And boy, that creates a hell of a shadow. Um, I wouldn't think that these planes are special in any way, but maybe there's some that are more deluxe than others, and then maybe there's some that aren't. But I had to do that one, huh? Work friends. Uh, had to be. So happy with yourself by now. Ah, ticklish, ticklish. Silk making her presence known there. Yeah, oh, man, train of thought just left the station. Where was I having this thing? Because I made some adjustments. Nice kind of thing there. Sorry, bear with me. I'm trying to make it a little bit more. Wow, that's actually really good. That's actually really good. That's straight down. Wow, this is about as straight down as you guys have ever been. And it's out of the way. I got room to play. Look at all this. Makes me wonder why the hell I was doing it the way I was doing it before. I don't know. Forgive me. If I could just get the glitching to stop, you guys would be perfect. Or the lighting scheme, right? I should probably shade this a little bit more. It's coming. It's coming. You know our shows are a work in progress. But anywho, um, the design, the building, the research and development, and the process. Like this is how you. I think this is what actually, seriously, NASA struggles with the most. Or not struggles with, but like that gets the frustration out because I think he always tries to walk that line that we talk about. He's trying to walk the line of when is it too much folding, too much cutting, too much taping versus like I want to get a working product out. And I want that working product to be great. I mean, you don't stumble into is something the caliber of like not the flying buzz, but like the next step above the flying buzz. You don't stumble into that, but that's usually what turns you on to it. I mean, think back on it. If your first aircraft was the flying bus, you got the start. You were bitten by the bug, but that was you weren't. It didn't really hold. You know what I mean? It's like you saw somebody do it and you wanted to do it, and perhaps you were young. This is how I started, and I didn't count. Like I didn't build the flying bus first because that's not the first plane I saw, but I had seen them. The first one I built that made me sit, watch, and then build one like it was your next step, beyond the flying bus. And I think like those are, it's just where you were, where you are, who you're with, whatever. and that might have got you bit by the bug. You know what I mean? Like that one, that's the one plane that got you. Hey, I can build that, and then it flew, and you were like, "Wow, that flew pretty good." Maybe the Flying Buzz did do the right things for you, did turn you on to that idea, did fly good enough that you were like, "Wow, that was awesome. Maybe I can do that." Now, I always try to tell Mark about his Draco, which long since retired, and with good reason, as the Flying Bus. But I always try to give him credit, and I'm not trying to make him feel better. He just did a marvelous job of taking that as far as it could go. I mean, like, yeah, it was a flying bus, but he only built like he had to start somewhere. I think he only built like how many did you build? Like 20 of them, maybe. But it wasn't that much, but it was a start, and that's where you should start. Start small, start simple, and like it flew. So of course that's the whole thing. Like, yeah, he got to see the phase two and phase three mostly in its heyday. You know, javelins were cranking. Um, so it was like, yeah, and like, yeah, when you see something like the phase, like everybody that knows, especially the two and three, it's like it's basically pretty simple, but it's simple to a borderline complex. So, like, yeah, you could build it in the field. I mean, it probably won't fly as good as you'd like it to in the field, but it will fly. And that's one things about again the start, the flying bus, or the next step. I don't know what you want to call it, the glart, because a lot of people like to call it the gliding dart, um, the dart glider. So it gets called the glart. Somebody in a publication actually called it that, and that name has been around for a long time because a dart that glides, a gliding dart, yeah, it makes sense, and it's great. It's a good idea. It's perfectly valid. Like the flying bus is valid. It's just that once you get there, you also know it's easy to duplicate. So you have, as a builder, you have a starting off point, and has a flyer. You know, if you found one, you'd be like, it doesn't really take magic to get that one to work. Or something like these always trip Mark out because it's like, how many sheets of paper did that take? Well, that's just one. But could you imagine what you could be done if you had two? That's just one. I mean, that, of course, you know when you're dealing with this one, it's just one. But it's like this one's also, I don't know why this one versus these two. Maybe it's because of that fold there that you like, that's one sheet of paper? How do you get that out of one sheet of paper? Like you could get that out of the same thing too. And trust me, if you build this one and then feel it, you're like, God damn, it does feel like there's two sheets of paper up in the front, but there's not. Yeah. Well, either way you look at it, though, it's I wonder if you cut that down, you wouldn't get the same fin, but you would have a flyaway. Bear with me, folks. I just had an idea. I was just struck by a bug that we're gonna take this. All of a sudden, Vampire is gonna go into research and development right in front of your very eyes. Like seriously, you just watched an epiphany. You just watched me create an idea here. So, and Matt, oh, you can string along with this one. I just thought of this, and it could work on higher. You don't put fins on yours too much from the center. You don't do that too much, right? But you have the potential to do it, and you have the potential to do it quite large because a lot of your aircraft have the 1 inch bodies, the tall fuselages. So I was thinking, Vampire has that. So there's a lot of room to play, even if you only have a like, single paper, like back here. So if you cut into this or you fold this up, you take it away, it's gone. Which double paper, like a javelin or a phase, you do that, and of course, you still got body down here and you got the fin. Like so. So you still got the fin, but you got body down here to replace it. That's the double papering effect we call. Single papering, where again, like if you folded that up, there'd be no body down here to replace it. Obviously, you can hybridize it and tape something back on so you have both. But in the spirit of North, no rear fuselage that we talked about, that like if I were to cut this for any odd reason, flip this whole thing up as a fuselage, and just cut this off, this plane would probably suck. Would Vampire be affected by that as much? Probably not because it's a stunter. And even that in and of itself gives me an idea for Vampire. Holy crap. Ooh, it's going to turn out to be a Vampire night. But what I was thinking, and again, for those of y'all that build tall fuselages of 1 inch or what is that, a 3 centimeter? Guys, you got to remind me to put that crap up in the background because I never freaking remember. Okay, about 3 centimeters. All right. 2.5 centimeters. So 1 inch equals 2.5 centimeters. All right. You got to have me up for metric so people understand that. So if you're dealing with a 3.5 centimeter, 1 inch fuselage, you got a lot of room to play. And the thing I thought about, this is going to be weird, but if anything, I could use as a test bed for something like that as a stunt plane that won't go too far. Good Lord God. The thing glitches like a bitch. Check this out. I literally just thought of this. You couldn't do this with a lot of other aircraft because, well, just because. 3/4. What's up, Robert? How you doing, man? Nice of you to stop in. I know you're probably hard at work again. You got to get off that night shift, brother. Hey, I got to get. Did you get my message? I got to get that stuff from you, bro. And speaking of which, where's my planes? That video's like, what, 7 months old now? Still waiting on them deliveries. I got a delivery for you, though. It should the calendar should be on its way. Check it. Still got body. Didn't take the fuselage away. But now it's got fins. I have no idea why I didn't think of that before. I have no idea. And see, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I like sharing and, to be shared with everybody to get the ideas across because it's like, dude, I don't know what gave it to me at that point because I know I don't like, well, we don't like North. But this, I wonder, well, I can't help Valkyrie, but yeah, man, as like I said, those planes are like, you can't post a video like that and then like tease people and not like, like, man, anxiously awaiting that crap. But this takes out the North problem. If any of y'all tried playing with not having the rear fuselage and realizing how bad that turned out, or like how glitchy my camera is for some fucking reason, God, that's irritating. I don't know what that is. You do North. If you're into a glider, it'll fail. A stunter might not suffer through that, and it makes me wonder what else I can do with this. So I've never Northed a vampire, so that's going to be another step. But doing this and now giving it the pins. See, I also figure like this isn't really gonna because this plane flies basically the same way. No matter if you these are out, these are down, these are up, these are you could do whatever the hell you want with the rest of the body as long as you kind of give it the bihedral kind of winglets. And it doesn't even matter if the fronts are up and the backs are down and vice versa or bigger or smaller. It doesn't matter. Plane doesn't even give a crap. I don't think that's what causes it to fly the way it does. But by the same token, like I just realized also, like this is like you want to do a bihybrid anhedral dihedral winglet kind of thing, true winglets. Check this out. Something else you could do, which I realized. I've actually made winglets like this before, especially on Javelin in efforts to stabilize Javelin's flight. So it still has something up above the wing, and now it's got something below that actually folds out, so it's on sideways. But again, on a stunt plane, if you have a stunt plane, which Vampire is, it's my close support plane. Well, yeah, it's my fighter bomber because it could be. It's not my close support plane, but I mean, like it used to, until I upsized it so it can be the fighter bomber. When I realized I didn't want the fighter bombers to be the fighter bombers that were, it's the dive bomber. Clarifying that. Brought the roll back because the dive bomber is a real crucial instrument in combat aircraft because something you could throw at the ground and carry it load and deposit the load, but then pull back up so it doesn't get attacked. Boom, these are great for that. Anyway, this thing now has so many control surfaces, it just isn't even funny. You gotta never be able to, and the funny thing is again, like this is basically just to test Nothing. You're not testing anything. On a plane like this, if you do this on a stunt plane, you're not finding out anything because you're not really going to get the whole plane. It's going to fly the same way. If I'd left those off, if I'd left those off, if I'd have left these off, it doesn't really matter. I don't really like certain degrees of this. Once again, I want to touch on that subject we always talk about like design intent and where you're going with the aircraft and what kind of aircraft it is. Like this already built, but obviously it's changing a hell of a lot. So, um, it's still a vampire. Built it as a vampire, had the intention, ended up as a vampire. Now I've just given it a whole bunch of new tech, but it's still a vampire. So it just has a lot more stuff. And again, like for what? Because I guarantee you this plane's gonna fly. But like I mean, it's changed in front of your very eyes to now something that doesn't look basic at all. It already looked kind of complex. Now it just looks ridiculous. And all for something that really, like I said, the kicker is it's not gonna change anything. This plane will fly the same as it did before I put all that stuff onto it and in it. These are really weird. Like I'd have to test this idea out on something else. Not with like with the planes like Matt has. I mean, obviously, if you got that 2.5 centimeter, 1 inch fuselage height, you can add this. You could do this. You could probably test out. You can try North, but I bet you won't get it. Certain planes will do like Axe. Axe has a degree of North, but Axe doesn't need a fuselage either. And like what I was getting at too is like what you've noticed about these aircraft is fuselage here is not so important as much as fuselage here. What the planes want and need is a keel. They don't really care too much about the rudder, especially, but any air back here. I mean, if the air stalls out back here, it's already leaving the plane. Because if you were to see that in like a wind tunnel, that's basically your problem. Is you're seeing stay up. You're seeing the wind, like any currents flow off the aircraft and they're coming up here and like off the wing, and it's obviously damn, it's just coming off, and they would be like squirreling off, but they would end up in here. Now, of course, in Axe, I think that actually kind of adds some lift a little bit to the ass end, but she doesn't stall, so it's not like the plane constantly butterflies through the air to keep it going up. It just glides through. What they want is this. What it wants is the keel, so the wind always, the current still have a place to go. And by the time it gets here, anything that trails off is already clear of any rudder, clear of anything that's actually going to cause the plane to like buff it and shorten the flight. So North doesn't affect it as much, especially with that, with the Stinger, as it were. The Stingers help, and that's why, like when we experimented with that, when we did something like this, it's the same thing. It's if you have that keel, that's the all fire important thing. If you guys are flying wings, it doesn't affect you. And you know what? That's kind of why it has from an aerodynamic standpoint. Like it goes both ways. Trying to keep a flying wing stable obviously it can be easy. There's quite a few of you out there who have achieved it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But I also think it's taking the simple way out because we're trying to get, you guys are just basically trying to glean. You're still getting all aspects of flight, obviously, but you're not doing it on like three axes. You're just doing it on two because you're dealing with a flat plane. We've got a fuselage going on. We got the cross, so we're going with vertical and stuff. And of course, the more winglets, strakes, anhedral, dihedral angle of incidences you're dealing with, the more crap you got to put on and the more body you got to play with. Like you guys that build flying wings, you'll never build anything with a canard, will you? Or will you? Could you build a flying wing canard? And if you could, would it work? I don't think that's ever been done. Definitely hasn't been done in real life. Because it would create a boom. And if you had a boom, if you had a boom, you would need a fuselage, would you not? And by sheer definition, adding a fuselage takes away the flying wing aspect. Or could you build it like at, a double pointed arrowhead? It would be like basically having a Nova here with no fuselage. And by the way, I thought of that. I thought of that with the tip papering, like Robert had suggested, if you build it that way. Like, remember what we said too, like you could build any plane and make any plane look like that. If you take the cheater's way out and basically cut the design into it. Like, no folds. Just literally trace the design, cut that, and then play with it. Well, you can build this into a flying wing by simply taking out, like, I could literally cut the entire fuselage off and tape the wings together. And then, yeah, you're at the mercy of trying to figure out how to get some weight in the front. But I don't think a plane with this kind of degree of incidence and the wing ratio or the wing chord the way it is would work well as a flying wing. I think the flying wings need to be more broad. But yeah, it's not. That's not really simple for being out there. That's not simple for being out there in the combat zone or in the field. These are the things we think about. And like, I mean, I we and here at IVPAC we bring everybody together. I mean, like that's actually the primary thing. It's not a matter of who you are, how you fly, whatever it is you fly, how you build. That doesn't matter. I like it's all of us, all of it, because it's the ideas. It's the sharing up ideas and seeing if you put them together. And like, would you accept somebody that could actually just cut? That somebody asked me that a long time ago. I don't know if it was in the show, like even 10 years ago when we were talking on the show. They were like, would you accept somebody that actually did something like they just traced the design out, or like White Wings? If you put a balsa wing on cardstock, is that acceptable? You're not folding. Who cares? I mean, there's a loose translation as to a paper airplane, how much of a paper airplane White Wings are. What our Japanese friends like to do when they go out to the park. When you watch all those videos that they have about flying those gliders, I mean, those are amazing flights. And some of them do use plastic in their construction, but we've used plastic in these construction. Look at Robert. Robert tapes all of his birds down. I mean, like the entire body. He's just reinforcing it. I mean, so what? Should we just call it the plastic paper force? Paper airplanes? Plastic paper airplanes? Paper plastic airplanes? Paper airplanes? I mean, what would you call that? No, we're not singling anything out. Inherently, it's still about designing something that looks like an airplane in a paper shape. I mean, eventually, I suppose we'll probably try injection molding built construction of aircraft, but till we get to that point, they're still paper airplanes. Um, yeah, I don't see any other way. I don't see like holding people out for something like that. But anyway, um, I wouldn't see tracing. I don't think you can constitute the same aircraft. I mean, you call it whatever the hell you want to call it. You're building something like a Javelin. You're building something like an Apex. You're building something like a Thunderbolt. But like what you do is you like, oh, I see it in three dimensionally. I can see it, but I have no idea how to make it folding it. So I'm just gonna cut it and make it look like that, and then hope to Christ I get it right. I don't really want to hold anybody against it. This is like, so what? You just couldn't. That's not a true Thunderbolt. That's not a true Apex. That's not a true Javelin. I love using interceptors. That's like my default. Sorry, I always do that. Basically, because I expect if you were to cut that plane, if you were to make it without folding it and just trace it, cut it out, I think it would almost have to be an interceptor and a flying wing, but an interceptor because I don't see how you could prevent adding weight to the point of getting it to fly right without adding so much weight that it just goes in a straight line. And jolly good if that's what you're trying to do, but I mean, like, what if it's not? And what if it's not? I don't even know. Good talk, people. Good talk. I it just all of these are actually still ideas I'm trying to fangle with because I'm like thinking about that. I'm thinking about this. Thinking about what we just did to this, and like I'd say I'm anxious to fly it, but I'm really not because I know what it's going to do, and it's not going to change anything on this particular design. I'd have to do something like that with this, and I can't because this one doesn't have like I'm. If I gave this a deep fuselage, a tall fuselage, if I gave this even 2 centimeters, let alone the 2.5 or 1 inch that would be required to make it something like what OAE likes to build, it wouldn't be a Nova anymore. It wouldn't fly like that. I mean, the max they've ever been is like I think 3/4, and still I don't even think it made it to 3/4. It was just shy of. It'd probably be more like I don't even know. 6/8. I was gonna say 5/8, but who measures by that? It wouldn't be like, again, the back end of this is awful close. It's the front end that takes it down, and I'm not entirely sure Novas like it like this. But some of the better ones that have flew like that. So winglets on this thing will be. You'll notice I haven't taken to flying it or fully finishing it yet because I'm so scared of finishing it out and it making it like something it's not going to be anymore. I mean, for real. I just don't know if this is. I don't know if it's going to turn out the way I'd like it to turn out. Kind of like the video for it. Man, thing is, I have to. I have to redo it because I did it with a camera, and the camera made it look like shit. And I finally got basically all the other aspects of. Well, actually, I'm going to redo the intro too, but basically, I'm redoing it from the ground up. I got it to the point where I liked it, and then like it portrayed got my idea across, and now it's like, well, I don't like it anymore because I'm seeing all the faults with it. This is all the problem artists have with everything, like their paper planes. Because, boy, that's the problem I've got. I've learned that, like, once I got it done, I don't like it anymore. So now it's crap. I don't like what I did right there. The winglets on this thing are going to be so bloody small. I shouldn't have cut it. Shouldn't have cut it. I'm going to be unhappy with this. I'm going to be unhappy with this because I can already tell because I've actually somehow managed to get like a swoop on the back wings, which I didn't want, and now I cut this winglet, which I shouldn't have. Oh, damn it. And I put the tape on because I knew I was getting ready to do this. Okay, bear with me, folks. I can't make a Nova without the winglets. It's just not a Nova anymore. Damn it. Damn it. I should have cut it. See, this is what we talk about when we get like this. Sorry I got quiet, but it's like I'm thinking, like, cuts are a lot harder to like mask. And once you're committed, you're committed, and you can't back out with a cut. Like you can't simply tape it, especially if it's a cut like this. Like if you're making flaps, this doesn't work. God, Mark, you seriously got to get me that camera. I gotta port somebody. Actually, okay, I don't mind the way the winglets look. Sorry, I'm taping this down. See, it's all concentration, folks. And then you start building and you build, you get into it, and then it gets a concentration. And it's like, I got to get my other hombres on the show too. So, like, somebody's running the commentary while I'm doing this, or like we did before, so that people can build. And you notice that everybody gets quiet when they build, be it concentration or the ideas flowing. And I just folded the tape on itself. Yeah, North is like ridiculous, man. Did you walk away and then come back? Because we lost her for a minute. And this inherently is one of Nova's biggest problems, is that you start taping all the extra folds craps down that it has, and then you add weight in areas it shouldn't add weight. And then it like screws up the gentle center of gravity it already has because of the folding area. Like there's so much weight added beyond. Like seriously, right now this section right here feels way more weighted than this section right here. So the plane is like really, huh? I've done this before, and I didn't do it with this one. I could do this again, I suppose. I've done this before. Be harder now. Like, fuck, I'm gonna leave it. Just because I taped it down, I'm not gonna freaking dig it out. So she's pretty solid. This just means I'm gonna actually have to require putting a staple or three in the freaking nose to counteract all that stuff. And of course, I don't like how little it. Oh. This is the dude. Seriously, you guys. I'm taking you on a walk along as to why I always got frustrated with Novas to begin with. Everything on Nova is such a delicate balance. Such a delicate balance. I mean, when it's right, it's right. And if it wasn't for the fact that I'm just in love with the design, I mean, yeah, officially she's kind of retired, but I just love that look. I love that design. I can't put it to bed. Won't to. Like, I'd really love to give it a fin. But any more weight back there, it's like at this point you might as well stick a nickel up in the front to counteract the weight it doesn't have there. Because right now, I guarantee you this thing's gonna fly like this, just like that. Because right now it probably doesn't know like which way is the front. The only way it knows which way is the front, and you could look at it weighting wise, aerodynamically wise, on two planes, it thinks this is the front. But weighted wise, either end could be the front right now. Terry once said from G Systems, he once said he built a plane that he said looked like it had horns. He was referring to this. But he made it think it was on the front end. I'm like, you don't put horns on the front, they're on the back. Now, I see what I'm thinking when you said that too. Like, how did you get North to work on any aircraft? Was it mostly a flying wing? I can't imagine an aircraft that you have that has anything over 2 centimeters or a half inch of a fuselage, and you take the fuselage away in the back. Boy, I, I, I can't see it like functioning properly. And the only reason I say that is because the amount of aircraft that I've had that have flown with it that have just completely sucked because of Norv. Like I put Valkyrie to bed because of Norv. It's inherent. It was built in. But I can't, Valkyrie, you can't do this. Actually, I don't really know what's stopping me. I could do that. But it's no longer. Maybe I'll bring Valkyrie back. Maybe I won't burn this airplane. Fuck me. It's a good night for ideas, fellas, folks. It's a good night for ideas because now I'm thinking, like, well, maybe Valkyrie could help me out. Maybe I could. Maybe I could get it better. Better than itself. Maybe I could make it more than what it is. You know what I mean? You ever had that inherent desire to try to get it to be more than it is? You really want more for your plane? She. Let me see if I can transition that. Sorry, just doing a little playing around in the background. All right, because I had too much dead space right here. I didn't like it. Yeah, I didn't like the dead space. Whatever. So I had a bagel burger for dinner. Ever a bagel burger? A burger? Yeah. The wife picked up these Hawaiian sweet bagels. Really, really soft. But it's so bloody sweet that, like, it tastes like a candy store. Like, really sweet. Even more sweet than their generic Hawaiian rolls you like to get. It is good. But let me tell you, I don't have to put a pineapple on my burger anymore. Oh yeah, I haven't tried that. Y'all should try that. Um, a pineapple on a burger is really good. I didn't think it would be. Thank you, Jughead. But yeah, I tried that when I was like 12 years old, and I didn't look back. It's not like I have it every time, but it is a taste treat. If you like having your pickles, you will like that. Really? You did that? Seriously? So are you the one that I got the idea from? Because when I was sitting there describing it, I literally thought about it, and I thought like I've seen it. So I must have seen it out of you then, because I got a really good mental picture of what it looks like, and like I in my head, like when I said like a double arrowhead, that's what I was thinking of, and it's because I've seen that damn thing before, and you built it, didn't you? You got that in the Instructables? Because I need to see a picture of that, because that's what I was thinking. Does it just basically look like, I don't know, all the rest of like your birds with the canards on a flat level? Ah, what am I doing? I can do this easier. Oh yeah, okay, you got Turbo Manta on there. All right, yeah. Okay, well that's a little bit different. That's not actually kind of what I was expecting. I see. Okay, the Manta and the Turbo Manta. Okay. Boy, your differentials are very, very small there. Okay, but yours isn't what I was picturing then. I'm gonna keep this. Man, why do you transparent my ass? The hell are you talking about? Image, fool. All right, let me see if I can do this. Way to go, pudding hole. All right. I'm gonna show people. You ready for this? I'm gonna show people. You better be ready. Oh, it's in downloads. What in the hell? Sometimes I'm slow on the uptake, and forgive me for that. I got it though. Gotcha. Manta here. This is what OE was. Oh my God. See, this is what I'm talking about now. It has turned out to be a tiny ass picture. Last time I did this, I had to scale your picture down. Now this thing is like postage stamp size. That was easy. There's the Manta from OAE. And yes, so he has done a flying wing with a canard. But that's not what I was picturing. Because I was picturing something more like Nova. So, like I said, like when I got a double arrowhead picture, I don't remember who did it. And I mean, the more I think about it, the more I also think like, no, that guy that did that actually had a fuselage. I think it's probably a video from a long time ago. Probably. Although Manta does look cool. I like the layout there. I love the fact that you integrate the canards. That is totally awesome. But I also like, what is it, Cobra or Super Cobra? Those are the ones I like best, just because like they're the only ones that look like natural formed canards. You know what I mean? Like seriously, because all the rest of them, you can tell what you did, and they don't look natural because they formed the other way. But Cobra at least has them formed the right way. You know what I mean? But it really doesn't matter because you're still getting what you need out of your aircraft. So you think if we did a how to build on one of yours on the channel, you know what? If we did a video here of a how to build while you were there, you'd have to be there. I mean, you'd have to be present. I'd almost say you should be talking because really don't want to take anybody along for the ride without actually having the contractor, the designer of the aircraft along. It's like talking with Toda-san, like we designed one of his planes, but like he was there with us. So, um, like realistically, it's like you like having them not just for mistakes, but just for like realism and authenticity. Yeah, of course I'm gonna staple the hell out of this. This poor plane needs to figure out which way is front. I'm not entirely sure if I don't. The first Nova didn't have to contend with these freaking problems. But you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to add a little bit more tech and a little bit more complexity here. Don't you love it? I want to say something else that I've said before and said again. If you design a plane that has what we in IVPAC like to call Delta Diamonds, this, and you get it to work without these tips, I want to know. You gotta show me a video and like show me how that works, because like every time I have taken Delta Diamond tips off a plane with Delta Diamonds, they have absolutely sucked. I really don't like this. It's because looking at it, you see what I see looking at it, and these like look like they go back. Like it tapers back here. I don't like that crap. Not the way I usually make these. I've clipped the tips of Nova before. That's not a real deal, but I feel like everything about this aircraft's gonna fight me. Nope, it flies pretty much the same it always does. One thing's for sure about Nova is like it sticks to a particular flight plan. It does the same thing every bloody time. It really does. It's not, if it's going to be disappointing, it's going to stay disappointing. It's not that that was disappointing. It's just that that plane, man, oh, so bad. I want so bad for that plane to not suck, and so bad. So every time it just, I don't know why. Like, I just need to stop. That plane is what it is. It's never going to be much more. It teased me. The design teased me with something that flirted with ranges like Wyvern, like a phase two. Well, okay, maybe not that far, but definitely like Wyvern. Probably like more like Venom, not Venom 1.0, more like standard Venoms. And I want, like I said, looking at it and doing that with like Axe and Coyote. They fly. Nova flies like Coyote does, but it teased me with something like what Wyvern does, and it's just not. Man, you just. This is why. Like you look at it. You ever had one of those designs? You look at it, and you figure you can get more out of it, and you play with it, and you keep playing with it, and you develop it for years. Looking at you, Noah, and so frustrating because like out of the 70 to 140 that you've built, five figured out a way to just master the skies. And when you've got a certain aircraft that you know will never like just be that plane, you can live with that. You'll be like, okay, you're not gonna be a glider. I didn't design you to be a glider. Okay, you don't spend time trying to figure out how to make it glide because you know it's just gonna be that plane. Yes, Vampire. Yes, yes. But Nova started as like, yeah, short to medium range, no problem. But somewhere down the line, somewhere right around number 50, we created an aircraft that was able to soar majestically. What we did is lost to time. But that aircraft strived to be above and beyond and achieve that, and we've never matched it. It's as lost as the Venom, the original design of Venom is. Has has still this one of the things that grates on my memory. Like I don't know if you guys have had a plane like that, but yeah, like I've got two of them because Venom is lost. I've only got pictures and fuzzy, distant pictures at that, so I don't have anything. A close-up special shows a line, so I can duplicate it, and I'm not even sure that's actually a Venom in the shot that I've got. And it's 35 mil. It's not digital, so I can't even like blowing it up is just like, how grainy do you want your poster size picture to be? So I can't make hide nor hair out of it. Wasn't taken with a particularly good camera and a particularly good time, so it wasn't even daylight. It's not tack sharp, so it sucks. And that's what I'm dealing with. So Venom is lost, and then the Nova. Like the fool that I am, I did not save the Novae that were that good because it's just another Nova. I mean, really, like you have to destroy aircraft. I mean, you shouldn't really. I know we all do, or okay, maybe not all y'all, but I don't, or I do. Rather, I don't destroy all of the things. I keep a bunch of them because I like how they fly. And again, I don't know about y'all, and if you watch NASA's, we typically burn, um, because it's a great way to like get rid of them, get rid of them. Like they're gone, they're done. Um, can't be found in enemy hands, but it's like an honorable way for them to go since they can't really all be shot down, even though I have shot aircraft down before. Um, but at least they usually end up serving some sort of purpose because the best way to do it, burn them from the tip, and if you've got any sort of wind, you can see the aerodynamics play on your aircraft before it dies. It serves one final purpose before it dies, and you can usually see like how it goes down the wing, how it approaches the winglets, the strakes, the anhedrals, anything you added on, anything you cut off. It sees how you can see how that affects it for that last minute. So it does serve a purpose. It's really cool that way. Um, but we burn, and like I said, like you watch NASA's a couple burnings, and you've seen pictures of mine. But the one of the key things and different, and one of the ways I've treated, I have recorded every single aircraft as to how its disposition is, and Mark's tried to do that. And like some of them, we have a database. We have a spreadsheet that'll probably go into the database about that, about what happened to the previous models. In his case, they're just KIA or MIA or whatever. But like if they've been burned, lost in the line of duty, um, I know what happened to all of them. Uh, in some cases, if they were kind of like I have the Palace, which is kind of like my aircraft museum. So if they really flew good, they don't get burned. They get kept for all time. They're in a special box, hermetically sealed, protected from the elements, plastic on in cardboard on cardboard. So and flattened. So they're not saved like this. They're flattened out. Um, but they had to be special. They're either like number one, number 100, number 1,000, or they just flew outstandingly well for a prolonged period of time, either years or simple quantity of sorties. Uh, you only did it with Hammerhead. Wait, you always call it the streak. I can find that. I always want to see because I'd like to see exactly how the hell that worked. You know. Oh yeah, wait. Because of the poses you do, though, I'm not gonna be able to see it, am I? Hammerhead, Hammerhead. Oh my god, I capitalized. 1 to 5 matches, but because of the way you pose them, you can't really see North. I see on Super Hammerhead, you actually changed the positioning of the picture, but that has a fuselage back there. Unless you just tried it with a. It wasn't the design. It's just a tech you designed. Because yeah, Super Hammerhead has it. Has a fuselage. Does not have North. Let's see the sky. Ow! Fudge sickles. 3 more images. Let's go. Really? I can't. Well, if Sky had it, I can't see a picture of it. You know, I bet you putting that little piece of tape at the rudder area, the back area of the wing, probably helps a great deal in the terms of whether or not North is going to work. I don't really consider that before, but I wonder if that's really So it's not on Sky, it's not on Strato. Is it on Strike? Or again, were they one offs? Not inherent to the design of the build? It looks like Strike has a few slots as well. And if you answered that, I'm sorry. I'm just looking through your Instructables to see them. Standard Hammerhead, Sky, Super, Strike, and Strato. Okay. I'm just looking to see if there's any of them in there. I like Strato. First of all, it looks like you ripped it. Second of all, it looks like it has the inverted gull wing, or the gull wing rather. Yeah, if it's not mass produced, you probably didn't technically came with the name. Okay, it's really cool. I mean, it's good to know that somebody got North working, but you don't have videos of it, do you? I would really like to see a video of that stuff flying because I've never got mine to work. This gives me hope, but it's like again because of the type of plane it is. So what? It's not gonna matter. Um, so I'm rambling, but I'm trying to talk aerodynamics, design philosophies, and techniques and ideas with you, and hopefully they give you an idea for your aircraft because that's really what the show is about. Just sharing the ideas and seeing if anybody puts it to paper and flies it. Puts it to paper and puts the paper to the air. And somewhere there's a motto in that. I gotta I gotta work on that. Oh, anyway. What did I just say? I'm gonna have to work on that. and yeah, that's really cool. Anyway, we're getting down into the teens here. So be some crispy flights because I am gonna try flying. Still, I want to see if I can get some frosty birds out there. Might get some flights in the snow. I don't know. I depend on you guys. That's why I really hope for you guys to get out there and like have a little bit less of a life and more of a flight so I can see what I can live vicariously through you guys because when it gets cold, man, it's not that I care about the planes so much because usually the planes aren't affected by all that. As long as I mean they don't really they put up with some stuff, but they're like not. It's like so what, you know? If it's dry, as long as it stays dry, they're usually be okay. And normally you don't think about that when you go fly in the snow. And like, oh, it's not rain, so it'll be fine. But if it's snowing, it's humid, so they're gonna have a substantial amount of humidity. Wisconsin in the wintertime, as far as this goes, is no freaking joke either. Didn't I bring water down here? Man, if I did, I don't know what the ever beloved hell I did with it. I sure could use them. I just said the magic word dry, and all of a sudden I really could use some water. But that's okay, because I was going to wrap this, because we're going on an hour-long show, and I don't want to be too boring. Um, I'm glad you sat with me through my epiphany of the design here, and hopefully this will turn into what I hope is a little bit more than absolutely nothing, even though I totally expect this to be absolutely nothing on this particular bird. But if I can get Matt to build it into one of his, like, dude, that's like a half a North. But if you ever built a Stinger, or you could just build Stingers into them, for something that's an inch tall, boy, I think that's like, I mean, again, realistically speaking, I don't even know if it would affect anything. But this is just one way of IDing it. This is also a way to give anything fins. And you notice the way I cut them. I made them a little bit more complex, but I'm trying to save the plane. I could have literally just angled it and made typical fins, but I was like playing. Especially because this plane is like one thing you notice about Vampire, it's all angles. So having a little bit of curve there is kind of like surreal to the actual aircraft. Eh, it's what I do. But anyway, guys, say thanks a lot for listening to me ramble about the technological ideas. We could have turned this into more like a tech talk that just showcased a whole bunch of stuff, but at least I stayed on topic and everything because I had a lot of ideas going through my head that are, let's just say a little bit less than good. Um, just what we're coming to. I swear to God, people, man, people, this country, but people, and I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting into that. This isn't a paper plate more, which you haven't seen a lot of lately, have you? Try to stay on topic. Did you like the tech talk we produced? Yeah, we got one out there for you. Wanted to get that one out there for you because been sitting on these for a little while, and it's like, you know what? We need to get these out to the public, and so we did. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope it comes in handy for somebody. I don't know. Just like this one. Hopefully it comes in handy for somebody. I'm hoping there's some ideas. Throw them my way or send them out to you guys. Um, yeah, yeah. Just that. I'm gonna work with this one. I got ideas I got to work with now too, because everything we talked about here, yeah, I'm interested in doing. So you gotta you gotta let me know if they got you got what it takes to try these out and be successful. Maybe you did. Maybe you did. Maybe you will rather. Maybe you won't. Maybe you got. Yeah, man, fat's pretty cool. I mean, seriously, that yeah. And I just like the fact that we can do that and call it and make it sound so like what it is. I think it's so technical, and yet most of the times it's so simple, and you may not even thought about it. Again, talking about just sharing the ideas, sharing the ideas. I almost feel like an ass for being like you guys joined IVPAC, especially in your case, Matt, because like you guys are full fledged members. You're a full fledged member of us. Like, so I sometimes like kind of feel like an ass. Like I can't believe I didn't share it with you before, but sometimes it takes a lot to get this out. You know, so but bear with us. It's like everybody's gonna benefit. Um, we could make this a members only channel. That way nobody knows, but I wouldn't do that. Maybe in the future I'll do that. I don't know. Yeah, but I kind of like I was thinking like for some of yours it probably would be really cool just because when you have winglets or outriggers or whatever you choose to call them as big as yours are out there putting fat on there, boy, yeah, that's probably some pretty good potential. And of course, like size wise, you'd have to watch it just because like you might start to like create some kind of pocket that might add too much drag. In which case, yeah, you don't want to go that route. It's the same thing with this. I mean, I could put fat on vampires all day and have it on every edge. I mean, I could create fold central on a freaking vampire, but there's really no point to it because that plane is just not going to change. If I could build the exact same aircraft, turn it into a glart or a glider, I mean, yeah, it's not. Oh shit! The one thing I actually didn't do that I meant to do. Um, one of these days, also, I'll be ready for you guys when you come on and I come on and actually have paper handy. I mean, because I got some, but I think it's new and I don't want to use it, or it's exclusive and I don't want to use it. So yeah, I don't have anything. God damn it! So I don't have anything here that so frustrating. I don't have anything immediately on hand that I can turn into an aircraft. And I've got a dog at my feet, which I don't want to disturb too, so it really sucks. Well, wait, maybe I do. I do have something in the burn pile here that doesn't need to be burned quite yet. Holy ballsack. Alright, hold on. Maybe we can do this. We'll do a quick build. And this is totally stupid. Totally freaking stupid, okay? Bear with me. Don't need scissors for it. We're going to do a quick two-plane build. Alright? Remember an hour ago in the show we were talking about the flying bus? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Nope, that's right. That's a good way of putting it. Um it's and like we call it that obviously, like homage to Ben, which I hope Ben's doing okay. I haven't seen Ben in a while. Ben, if you're out there, if you listen or whatever, Hey, man, love to see a video again. Love to hear from you. Make sure you're doing okay out there, man. How's Palmdale? But anyway, I've always called it because we have always called it them anhedrals because we just thought it was cool. It's what they are. I mean, the angle is there, but anhedral is an incident than the angle. It's not really what they are. They're still kind of winglets. But like I said, our definition, we kind of feel like winglets are smaller, so we call them anhedrals. So the name stuck because FWT. What are you going to do with that? Foot? No, but fat? Okay. There's even another technology to build on that, which we'll showcase in a future Tech Talk. But so this plane, all we're going to do is I'm not building a Draco, but we're going to build a flying bus, and then we're going to build the Glart out of the flying bus, just so you know what we're talking about. And yes, this is the world's simplest aircraft. All of y'all have probably built this plane. All of you have probably built this plane. And if you haven't, where the hell have you been? Or did you just skip right over it? Which I can understand because I skipped right over the bus. The Glart was my first, but I was 5 years old. No joke. I literally built. I know. I can remember doing it. Then I remember using it in anger, and that's when I didn't know it at the time. But that's when IVPAC was born. So yeah, the flying bus. So named because it turns out like a flying bus. Sad. Like if you want to make it better, like Draco better, you would do it with a half sheet. But like this, remember you would have this. All y'all built this. You built it when you sat with me through Javelin, right? But then literally forming the wings from this. Like no joke. Like this your wing right here. Here you go. Right? That would be if you would do that. So I said it's like the five-fold build. One, two, three, four, five. Boom. That was a flying buzz. I'm not gonna finish it because I want to build the Glart out of it. And the Glart was probably, if you didn't build the flying bus first, some of y'all did this, which is basically what Draco was, which was almost unheard of, where your wing only went down to the keel. But that plane kind of works. That's actually how he built Draco. Draco was half and half and half. Oh, wait, you'd be proud of him. Because literally that's what he did. Is like after he did this, it was in a half sheet. The only difference is it was done in a half sheet. And some odd reason that made it work better. It was a lot more sturdier than if you did it out of a full sheet. But like if you're folding it in half and then doing this. But then like literally taking this and then doing this, making sure the wing didn't go past down there. Like even when I built it, it went down here. But he did it that way. And it worked. So I gave him credit for that. Because I'd never seen anybody usually take the time to make it like that. And he reinforced a little bit. But still, flying bus, retire. Anyway, so that's flying bus. Like you make this as your first plane when you're like a toddler. But then your second one, the Glart, is literally just taking this, which is usually what we try to do with the 5-second plane, the 10-second plane. And tell me you haven't built this one. The only difference in how you built this aircraft was what you did after you did this. Because most of y'all have done this, right? Most of y'all have done this. Right? This, after you have this, I mean, tell me, all y'all, almost all y'all done this, right? It's where you go from here is what makes it the plane that it was. And crucially speaking, it's where you go from here. What did you do? Were you one of those that like took it to the nose and gave it like this? Did you give it that wing so it had almost no nose and a stupid high fuselage back there? Did you do that? Or did you do flying bus style dimensions where you gave it like stupid high nose and a wing like that? Not much better than the flying bus, other than the fact your wing chord was like way more further back. The aspect ratio is extremely high. Or did you do a little bit more advanced and actually give it some broad wings a semi-straight fuselage and a nose down where it was more appreciative, so it looked a little bit more like an aircraft. Like so. I've got so many folds in there, but I don't care. It's never going to fly. Not my intention. And then the final step of this is if you did this, did you give it winglets? Did you actually take the time, once you formed the wings, to give it winglets? A lot of the people I knew didn't ever bother with that. A lot of people. A lot of planes I found, man, never had winglets. Well, like, okay, so were they the kind of like secondary winglets that would be called that, or was it really like fat, or was it more like just additional? Did it create something like a boxyhedral, a boxlet? Like I've seen a couple of your planes actually turn out with something like that. I see the boxards, as you were. Personally, I think if you put the winglets on there, I consider that pretty advanced because you took the time to form them. But that, haven't you seen this 100 times over? This plane, everybody builds this plane. Everybody. Super Skyraider? Okay. Uh, yeah. Well, make it easier there. Dude, you gotta make videos, bro. Man. Ah. I am surprised sometimes that you get so much. People have found, wow, that's dark. Let's do this. That's not that dark. Where's that light coming from? Hell. There you go. I'm surprised you get so much. I didn't know Instructables, like people with attention spans nowadays, like Dalton would readily admit, he'll tell you, I don't like to read. Dude reads text like they're going out of style and news blurbs and shit, but still don't like to read. Anyway, yes, Dalton, I'm gonna pick on you. What are we looking for here? Super Sky Raider? Not Sly Raider. I'm an idiot. There it is. Oh. Okay, yeah, okay. So like the stepped we just call I ended up calling those like stepped winglets. So yeah, in a way, yeah, you're right. That's fat to a degree. I usually called it like having a different name for it if the fat I always pictured fat as being like really tiny compared to the winglet. Whatever the winglet is, it's a fraction of the winglet size. Whereas something like that, we call it the step winglet because it's like half the winglet size. If it's like that big, it's forming a new surface all its own. So, no, I mean, no, nothing really, like nothing bad intended by that. Just saying, like, yeah, that's how we termed it. Just because like you're forming something different. And let me show you, ladies and gentlemen, what he's talking about here. Wait, that was just wrong. What he's referring to. This is cool because I'm adding some stuff. Go look at OAE's Instructables if you want to see like how to build these aircraft. He is on Instructables and he has those there, but what he's referring to is this right here. That's Super Skyraider with the steps. But yeah, that as I said, that like we call them step stuff. I am gonna write this down for people. Um, Man, I can't spell. Yeah. Oh, that's ridiculous. Oh, that's ridiculous. I had to save it to the code. But anyway, yeah, so that's his plane. Sorry. Again, typing. Why is it we get so quiet when we're typing? I don't know. I should stop that. But anyway, guys. Yeah. So, yeah, check it. I'm going to his link through to that. You know something? We're going to do something here. We're going to do something here. What are we going to do here? Hold the hell on. Hold the hell on. Hold the hell on. We're going to do something here. That's not really going to work, but what we'll do is we'll make this a little bit more flashy dashy. Bear with us. We're going to try something because, like, we never do this before. We don't usually do this, okay? So bear with us. Oh, yeah, I'm going to give you a little bit of an ad. You down with that? You down with that? We don't usually do this. But, like, he always shows, like, he always tells us about his aircraft. And he's got a lot of aircraft out there. But most of it is not on videos. Most of it is available. Jesus H. Christ, it's big, though. And that's not really standing out like I'd like it to. But we're going to do this because I feel we should do this for you. Okay? We're going to do this for you. What's the fucking center? Right there. Look at that. Okay, hold on. Hold the phone. See if this is going to be better. Man, there's just no way to do it where it doesn't stand out. I'm trying. We're doing something. I promise. In the background, through all the glitching. Maybe I should. Oh, maybe I should. Oh man, if only I could do something more fascinating. That. My backup, bro. Yes, by all means, go check out OAE's site. Yeah, see when it's dark, it comes out really popping, doesn't it? That's OAE's site. Yeah, Instructables. Go check out his planes. 400 of them, over 400 of them out there. Cause brother's only got like 3 designs on this YouTube channel, but got 400 on Instructables. For those of you that probably have never heard of Instructables before, I don't know. Yeah, he's got them. It's a great channel. I might throw that up there for you later on, bro. You might just keep that ad. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna run down there. Yeah, big things are coming. Big things are coming. Just be ready. Yeah. So anyway, good show, people. Thanks for coming out. It's going on an hour and a half. Um, I appreciate that. Well, you wait. That new idea you're developing now, like the one we just talked about, you're gonna do that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Um, because fat can be used for that, couldn't it? I mean, that kind of where you got. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about when you said like fat can be used. Yeah. It could. It would have something to sit on, and something simple as like folding the tips. You're gonna love the next step because there's the next step. Um, Stay along for the ride. But yeah, it was really good stuff. Yes, by the way, that is an IVPAC. You can't see it. That is an IVPAC pen. I had those made. Kind of enjoy it. Yeah. We'll be experimenting with those so much. Write's good, but then again, any new pen's gonna write good. They just do. It's sort of a thing. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. My landing gear idea, as it were, was always a lot more um kind of like Ben's. Like mine was stupid complex. Like I created landing gear that I foresaw somebody in the cockpit storing away. Like I don't know if I've still got what would be termed SCP-041, which was my landing gear plane, or SPA. Which one was that? 088? Yeah, SPA. No, 092. SPA 092. Oh man, those were. I'm okay. I'm gonna show you one more thing here. This is this is going back into history. Now I did this, dude. I did this a long time ago. I did this so long ago. Um, I might have showed this before. This is like this is going back to original days. I made this particular picture that you're gonna see. Last time I made this picture, why is there no background? You know what? We're gonna change that too because we need something. Okay, hold on. We're gonna call that drapes. And what I'm gonna do is, oh my, holy God! Just make that the background. Okay. So, for the benefit of the shot, drapes goes down. There you go. Okay. I'm gonna show you this. This. Oh, it was 142. Okay, I thought it was 92. It's 142. This was built at a time. This okay. I don't know if I ever took. I think I took the picture and the picture got destroyed. So I drew this. I hand drew this with a. I don't even know if I used a mouse because let me date myself. I drew this drawing on a Tandy 1000 computer. It had no hard drive. It had a 3.5-inch diskette drive that I have saved through the years, and I still have the disc. I drew this with a 16 color paintbrush thing on the Tandy because, oh no, my MS DOS was MS DOS, literally MS DOS diskette. And I had paint, the original paint, and I drew this from the picture so I could digitally transfer because, dude, this was when we couldn't just simply scan the picture in. So this was the aircraft, and this is going back in time. That was before I was Stag Industries, I was Stag Company. So my coding was SCP, and this is right before the change because I literally changed it in time for there to not be SCP 149 did not exist. But this is a great illustration. I took this picture and I drew this picture just like that. My neighbor had pines. You could see the other neighbor's house down the way. It was Sumter, South Carolina. The sky was clear. He had hedgerows all around his house and then his front yard. And this was taken in my front yard on the sidewalk that led to the driveway, facing north. And I'd posed this bird just like that. Basically, like from memory, but I drew it because this was the aircraft. And what she had was I'd taken and made the tiniest of holes, pinpricked holes where you see. I used to, yeah, I did goofy stuff. That was from the village base that we have in Sumter, where the 477th is based. And back then, 477th actually had 6 squadrons, and it was the Core 6. And the Phase 2s were the Heat, and they had the code VI for the. And I mean, dude, I coded everything back then. But the X was where the center of gravity was, and the danger was because the nose was so pointy. I was just trying to have fun with as many military markings as I could. But anyway, Like literally, it had all that stuff on it. But what I did was I took a paper clip, cut the paper clip into the pieces that you see where the gear are, and the wheels. I had poked the holes in the body of the aircraft, fed the paper clip through, and then the wheels were made out of file folder hole punches. I literally like punched a hole in a file folder and then used the holes, not the holes punched, but the actual waste has the wheels, punched the paper clips through them, and then put them on the aircraft. So not only were they on there and held the aircraft up, because what I think I did was on the other side, you can't see it on this view, was I had a little bit of tape over both of them. The holes are already small, but I put tape to provide friction because, of course, when you had the paperclip, you can fold them in and tuck them up. So the aircraft didn't have to have its gear down the entire duration of the flight. Well, I never considered that goofy. Oh yeah, because you like all of yours have the designation, like through the time. Well, yeah, we've got a little bit different on like what our sequential, like yours are like yours is designator. My designator is still the names. That's just number 142 at the time. I had built 142 up to that point. Still a phase two, and actually, to be fair, I still called this the phase 1M back in the day because, well, I considered a modified variant of the phase one. So back when I was still Stagco, like when it was SCP coding, that was the phase 1M. I went through some changes back then before I realized how I landed on what I wanted to do and what created the phase. So yeah, and I kind of enjoyed that, especially for a time, just because when I created the slanted trailing edge to make phase threes, what you all know as phase threes, I called that back to the phase 1M block 2 because it was the M. I just cut it. I kind of miss that and would almost love to find a way to call that stuff back there. So you might see that coming in the future. Oh, really? It floated in the water? Wow! But this is also showing you. This is also showing you SCP-142. Um, like 142 actually used better landing gear than I'd given it. The only thing was is the rear landing gear were folded in A-frame style. Like the front gear, single wheel. Well, obviously they're all single wheels. It's only three. I tried to do that with a slightly darker orange to show that there was two because the front gear was a single stock. The back gear was single stock to each wheel. There were two wheels back there. It was A folded. So like you could still do this. I've actually done this with a couple planes since then. Because it's easy to do. It's just without somebody there to bring them down and bring them up. What's really the point? I mean, it's one of the reasons why I don't like toy aircraft so much. Like I love having airplane models, and yet most times you either have the gear locked down or you have the gear locked down. A lot of times you have the gear locked down, and I don't like them with the gear locked down. But they don't sit on anything really good without the gears. So it's like either put them on a stand, and trust me, a lot of times if you get an aircraft on a stand, it doesn't come off the stand, which is really freaking annoying. Hey, let me just look. Dragon models. Dragon models are the way to go. Dragon models are really cool. They're pricey as all hell, but they're big enough and they're all die-cast metal. And they give you an option. They give you, with their models, they give you the landing gear so you can land it, or the ability to take the gear off and then the little panels that cover the gears doors, like the gear doors, so you have the aircraft what it looks like in flight. That's how everyone should ever be made. I always hated all the toys because they always have the gear down, and it's usually if it's diecast, they're on there, and you just can't take them off, and they look like absolute ass. So, I mean, if you ever got the ones from like who made them? Z-Toy, Jotming, Ertl. I don't think it was Ertl, but if you got the small ones, like the really teeny tinies, matchbox sized, boy, those freaking things were so small. The landing gear was like the biggest part of the plane. I just hated them. Hated that. Oh, I remember. I mean, I remember you talking about the flag boat because remember we were talking about the aircraft carrier. In a way, I still want to build that aircraft carrier. I mean, I see no point to it because the moment you can build a radio controlled paper airplane and put radio control in the aircraft carrier and then be able to land and launch from said aircraft carrier. I mean, basically, anything that floats can be an aircraft carrier because you're really never going to be able to launch from it. Or are you? I couldn't even begin to tell you, like, Robert, you got some rubber band launch? Can we do it? You put the hook on the nose, ski ramp, which I almost imagine you'd have to need, and then basically something that either is set on a windy timer or still radio controlled or a burn. I don't even know what, but something so that it would have the catch of the rubber band that would let go and it would launch the aircraft from the boat. It's the only way I could see it happening. And again, like, what's the point? Because what you're talking about is basically having a simple aircraft carrier. It's just something that floats, that holds planes that can get from point A to point B because it sure as hell can't launch. And if you could land them on there, first of all, that's a challenge that should be accepted by every paper aircraft flyer ever. But consider how many aircraft you could possibly lose by landing on there without while missing. Yeah. But yeah, see, that's the whole thing. Like, I wouldn't even risk it unless I was doing something akin to what Roberts does. Yes, I'm using your words. Like where you taper the whole thing so if it falls in the water, it won't be harmed. But then you got to hope to Christ it floats because if it sinks, you got to go fishing for it, and that might not even be cool. But I mean, seriously, first of all, where? You gonna fight near water? I mean, if you can, you win instantly because nobody else can do it. But second of all, like you're either gonna be in a swimming hole, a snake hole, or a mud pit, which you're not gonna want to go in to retrieve your aircraft. You're not gonna want your aircraft around, and you're probably not gonna fly around anyway because most of your other planes, if they go in the water, die. So what's the fucking point? Second of all, if it's around a pool, what the hell is the point of that? That's the pool. If it's in a public pool, you would have to be the lifeguard and have keys to the place when it's locked down. And I can't begin to tell you the logistical reasoning behind it. It's just so ideological as to be outlandish. There's no point to it, which is kind of why, in the back of our minds, like, yeah, imagination wise, it's awesome. But realistically speaking, it's impractical as all get out. There's no point to it. If it's a pool in your yard, why the hell would you fly fight practice at a pool in your yard? It's in your yard. Why would you take it to a public pool? Everybody could kill it. If you can go there after hours, well, that kind of defeats the purpose. Nobody else can go. And then why would you, if you could do there to go fly with somebody, well, that's either a friend or the enemy, and you could either A, bring them to your house, or B, why would you unlock and let the enemy in your house? Just so many ways it's rhetorically impractical. It's just to be unfeasible at all costs. Yeah, it's just, it is. And it's, like I said, idealistically, it's like great. It like, for your creative juices, it's awesome to have the idea on pen, paper, and even production. It's awesome, but realistically, there's like no freaking point. I don't see the point at all. Well, yeah, true, but like I said, unless you can consistently, that was my whole thing was like unless you can consistently land and take off, because that's what we envisioned. I mean, seriously, a floating shoebox can be an aircraft carrier. And again, anybody could do that. Shit. So in essence, we can all build it. Or is that really like more like an aircraft freighter? You know, like the Atlantic Convair, a la the Brits going to the Falklands. Put Harriers on there, in which case they had jump jets, and they still took off. We'll never have that. The minute you guys can get a ducted fan going, a paper airplane, so it can vertically lift, you let me know. 'Cause I don't think we're going to be alive to see that shit yet. It may be coming, but we're so low on the scientific totem pole as to never see that. And I'm not willing to spend $1,000 on this hobby quite yet. $100, yeah. 1,000, nope. I can honestly say I've never done that. I'm not. That's not a. I'm not proudly saying it. It's not a brag. It's not anything. I just statement of fact. I've never used an import. I've imported ideas all the freaking time, but don't we all? I mean, building this is an imported idea, but yeah. Yeah, see, like that too. Like, I actually thought of having a naval air defense fighter. I thought that was really cool. But I was also trying to think of what the flying fornication is going on there. Really? Whatever. Um, I was like, again, it just seems I couldn't fathom putting that together. Couldn't fathom putting that together. I just don't know what's the point, you know? That shit gets, especially for kids. It's totally impractical for kids. Who's gonna? Well, maybe not anymore. In my day, it was. Hell, finding waterproof paper. There wasn't the internet to go on and find that shit. And the idea is like to keep it cheap. There wasn't Timu. There was cheap Chinese crap, but you had to mail it in, or cheap American crap, cheap German crap. But like seriously, Pelican paper wasn't around. Like, and again, like I said, like you want to make waterproofing, it's either gonna take too much tape so as to keep it like I'm not wasting my tape to tape over an entire. Like I've waterproofed aircraft before I even made them out of plastic. But even if you straight up make them out of plastic, that already gets expensive. You can get 100, what is it, 100, 200, 500 sheet, 250 sheet, 300 sheet ream of loose leaf paper for like a buck, $2. Even now, it's cheap as all hell. But you can get 20 plastic sheets for like $10, $5. I don't know what the price is, but whatever that stuff is, like I use that file, like project folder stuff, which is the closest you can get because it's still pliable and still forms aircraft. And like, dude, it's expensive as hell. And like, I don't want to keep turning that into aircraft. Those are the most expensive airplanes I have, bar none. Other than getting waterproof paper, and still, like, I'm gonna literally have to spend money to possibly lose it. No, that's not happening. I wouldn't even. And waterproof paper is great. Like, I can fly in a rainstorm, but if it sinks, how waterproof is it really? And again, if it sinks, then we're talking just lost. So it was, yeah, it was. I did that. I even literally made the foil. God, I might actually have those pictures. That was taken with my 35 millimeter camera back in the day. I was a photo bug back in the day. I took pictures of every damn thing. I love taking pictures. Um, I had the Phase One uh, WSP, and then the Phase One W for all weather, even though I didn't put the A in there. And WSP was, Jesus, I don't even think I have them here. They might be in the palace, but they weren't really like they would never be truly weatherproof. But they like it was like you've seen how a phase is built. You take a full sheet and you fold it in half, right? Well, the WSP was you cut that in half and you had the rectangle of foil and the rectangle of paper, and then you proceeded to make the phase because the foil took the place of the other sheet. So when you built the aircraft, there'd be like foil here and paper here, or the other side would be all foil or all paper, depending on how you folded it. So not truly waterproof, and yet it worked. But the other one that was truly waterproof, expensive, you'll like that. I built the phase out of paper, sheathed the entire thing with foil, so it was all foiled, like All the folds followed it. Then I believe I used saran wrap. Saran wrap covered the foil. No, wait, no. I take that back. Saran wrap was the insulator. I saran wrapped the paper, the actual phase two inside, then foil covered it and taped the foil down. The saran wrap was acting as an insulator to cover the areas the foil could not with pinning the folds. So yeah, I did that. So it was a paper airplane core with a foil wraparound, and that did pass. I remember distinctly because my dad was like, "What the hell are you doing?" He came into the bathroom and I had that plane submerged in the sink overnight because I tested to see whether or not it was truly waterproof. Guess what? It was. I remember breaking it open the next day, coming home from school, breaking it open. Sure enough, paper was intact. I did it right. I was proud of myself for that. But again, feasible? Hell no. I never built another one. There's no point to that. Even though it did help me build structure because it's like, damn, dude, you put foil on the inside or the outside. The plane's really fucking strong. So, yeah, because when you're a kid, your ideas are pie in the sky high. I mean, really, like that's what like the aircraft carrier idea we threw around when you first got in and we were playing around with was back from then. I mean, but somebody had it. Somebody had brought that to us. Like it's not. I couldn't begin to tell you exactly how old that was. Like it's not an old idea. It's not a new idea, but it's not an old idea. You know. So that's what I mean. Like it's not. It's just people have a different take on it, and ours was definitely a different take. Like they thought a paper aircraft carrier was like a aircraft carrier made out of paper. Okay, yeah, sure, I got you. Where's the drapes? Oh, you hairy, stupid butt nugget, Holio. The Brian fornication is going on. Ah, that's not what I did. Sorry, you gotta bear with me. This thing is just not. Oh, why me? Why now? Why here? Y'all might remember this. This is going back to our early history on the video channel here. This is literally a paper aircraft carrier. Like, dude built it out of paper, even though I think that's just a flat sheet, and put paper airplanes on it. Our thinking was beyond that. We were literally thinking aircraft carrier that it holds paper aircraft, not a paper carrier with paper aircraft. So it's a paper aircraft carrier. Paper aircraft, paper carrier. Yeah, our ideas are pie high in the sky, and that's just ridiculous. Like, no, that thing just wouldn't even work. That's just the design to be the design. Put that in water, it dies. So, um, I mean, ideally, I'd still like to see it just to have ideas of what people come up with. But I mean, I've got an idea how to like land planes on it, how to motivate it, and in essence, how to launch. But again, like we don't, we make it sound like we've got real pilots in these planes doing real things, and it doesn't happen. Their sheer motivation is us throwing them, and we have to go fetch them when they land. I mean, it's great to think about and have the imagination like that, but we got to be real at some point. I like the fact that we can still imagine it and still want to put it to use, but realistically, feasibly, economically, should you do it? Probably not. Will I do it? Maybe. I think I still have the skeleton of it. I don't know. One day when you come in on the show and you just see one laying sitting here and like, guess what? That'll be the day. That'll be the day. Yeah. Pretty easy when you could just get all the material that you had, just like, shits, giggles, and all that stuff, and you just had them. I don't know. Yeah, landing gear. Oh, before I go, like I said, like, so you saw 142. The other one, uh, which was 100 planes earlier, which was like 41. Um, that one was a phase two as well, or phase one M as I called it. Was actually one of the very first phase one M's, and ironically, also one of the first ones to have a USRS. I'd never tried that before that, but I had to because it had landing skids like you like to put them, but landing skids that could fold away. What I did with that one, I shouldn't have put this one, but like it was double papered, as all phase twos are. So like obviously like again like this, you cut this and you're cutting into the wing. Phase twos, if you cut this on the top, you still got a wing on the bottom and vice versa, right? So what I did was I cut two outriggers. Um, Started the cut here on the wing, carried it over into the fuselage into a foot pad that was on the fuselage. So what it would do is it would fold down from the wing and drop and sit lower than the fuselage on both sides, obviously, in the back. So it actually had landing pad, landing feet. And then the one in the nose, this one is trickier because this one, I was so obsessed with getting it on the center line, and you had to because, well, I ripped it, but I didn't intend to because I had too many folds in the nose. So it was along the side because there's so many folds that you have in the nose. So what I did was I had the nose gear was awesome. I built it at the inside folds. The outside fold was the landing gear door. It was simply a rectangular cut that went over, so you could open it up and tuck it over to the one side. So it exposed the gear behind it, which was made out of the folds on the inside, which I cut into a pad, and then you had to watch the fold, which I ended up ripping. So it was double folded here, so it could come out and then down. But it had a foot pad. I cut the same kind of design into it, a stock with a foot pad, so it could come down, and it really was laying flat. Just, it was bloody awesome. It was complex as all hell. Took so much time, but it worked. I mean, it was tucked under the door. I even built the door. The outriggers lay flush with the body when they were up, but the front one, yeah, it was cool. But the plane, I had to put USRS on it. I had to cut a rudder into it that I didn't really want to do because phases hadn't had it and I didn't know how well they would perform. But I did this, but I cut it at an extremely low angle, so it was like this kind of line. It would be like from that tip here. You can't see that. Sorry. It'd be like from this tip here to like down here. Not this severe like this line is. It would be like this line. And I had to cut that because I gave the nose gear stock was so much taller than the main gear stalks. So it actually had a pitch up attitude, like it was going to take off from a carrier back in the day. So I had to cut that into it too. So it was the first plane I ever had that actually had DSRS on it, the downward slope rudder cut. Yeah. Those were the heydays, man. I mean, I don't really, actually, I still think, I mean, because I still have the ideas. It's not like the ideas have gone away. It's just a little bit less far fetched and a little bit more reasonable, I think, now. That's the only difference. Now, what Ben does is just freaking ridiculous. And not in the way of, look, it puts the dick in ridiculous, but it's like, man, he's on the verge of creating machines that fly on paper planes, gears and shit that work. What he just needs to do is shrink himself down to man size so he can fly his planes. That's the only thing missing is a dude in the cockpit. Ultimately, that's what our craft boils down to. It's like, can you put a man in the cockpit? Nope. But if you could, that's what we would do. All right, dude. All right, come on. That was good. Good show. Good show. I appreciate the input and the output. I thank you for giving the ideas, sharing the ideas, and giving me a venue to bounce the ideas off. Thanks for sitting in. It was a good show that just went over, or is that 2 hours? But like that was pretty good. Matt, thank you for stopping in again, bro. It's good to see you. It's good. I'm hoping you're having a great start to your year, Robert. I know you're busy out there, but again, as always, great to stop in. Stop working so you can get in on this show, bro. And might say the same to you, Dalton. Dude, come on, man. I know you had to peep in probably. Where you at? We got a show together, bro. Uh, don't worry, I'll pick on NASA too. I'll be out here. I'm holding down the fort. You get some more videos. Um, like again, I'll present you with something. I promise you that you've been waiting, but it will be worth the wait for the how to builds. I know you've been along for some of the impromptu ones, and I'm not happy about them, but I give them because that's what people are interested in. Um, but once you get them and I start producing them in mass, you'll see why it's taken so long. I mean, if I was 14 years old and all I had to do was this when I came home from school, you'd have had all of them by now. But since I have a life and a wife and pets and work and shit, it's a lot harder. And a house, and cars. Uh, Sometimes life really does suck. But anyway, again, though, I know it does for y'all too. But like, take time out to design, build, and fly your planes and get out of your own head for a little while. Come with us.